So we're here with Network Group in Belfast. It's a member group, as you well know. You've seen some of these other podcasts. But we are three of the four, a gang of four who curate and host the weekly community calls, which happen on Thursday for 45 minutes. They're great. They're a meeting of members who have their own issues, their own challenges, and perhaps they're the leaders of their business, so they've got no one to address them with. And it creates a forum for them to talk about anything business related internally, but also macro stuff that's important to the businesses in general. Today at the Network Group session, we hosted an in-person event where we did it in a room with lots of different people, opposed to in a Teams format, which was slightly challenging, but it went pretty well. We got a lot of people talking. Craig, what was your highlight?
From today, I think it was just how we managed to even take that format from Teams and get it working in the room. Some really good discussion. So we were a bit, let's be honest, we were a bit unsure as to how well it was going to go. We thought, there was always a chance it could go completely dead, which is why we put Marcus up on stage to be the fall guy.
Thank you for that.
Well done for that, thank you. But it flew. We had some great questions, some great content, and I was surprised actually the first topic, just how long that went for. It seemed like the time just flew by. So I think that's always a sign of a good call. Like the weekly calls, when you kind of come off it and you go, wow, that was the quickest 45 minutes ever. Yeah, it's brilliant. I thought it was really good.
And Dean, what were some of the topics we touched on?
Yeah, so we started off with a sort of an outlook which could have gone one of two ways. Luckily, it was relatively upbeat as opposed to everybody doom and gloom. So that actually took quite a reasonable time to get through the conversation. So, and there's very few pregnant pauses on that one. So it was obviously topical for...
Yeah, well, it's quite difficult to talk about the economy in a general sense, isn't it? Because you're so tied to your own business specifics in terms of how it goes. But people had a stab at it.
Absolutely. And then there was some good content about remote working, and I think there was one or two people quite surprised at the number of overseas appended staff.
I think it's about 75%.
Yeah, I'd say 75% of companies have at least one overseas staff member, which was a big surprise given conversations generally in the room.
And more than one person has mentioned that to me since, saying couldn't believe how many hands went up in the room. And what about compliance, which is often a dry subject, but in our industry it's pretty important really. So
yeah, with the new bill going through Parliament, that's going to hopefully change the landscapes of MSPs for the better in terms of compliance. It is a hot topic for the next year anyway.
It certainly is, and if we can make our industry and our sector even more robust, and that can only be a good thing, and a good thing for Network Group if we're leading that. So it was I think it went really well, like you said. I think we had some great content, and as you said, we only managed to get through 3 questions, which isn't always the case on a Teams version of that, where some of them are quite quick to be rolled through. Some good, we had some of the same people answer, but then some people that wouldn't normally have engaged. So I think that went rather well.
It was quite good that we had some people that we don't normally hear from on the Teams call coming in and engaging.
Contributing.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a bit micro, isn't it? We were seeing the same thing. We'd see it on Teams as well. Sometimes it could be a smaller group. Then you really get into into the weeds of the issues, or when it's a slightly bigger group.
I think it might have been as many as sort of 25 different individuals talked, which is good, right? It shows engagement. People do struggle sometimes to put their hands up in a big room and speak out loud when they wouldn't on Teams. Yeah. So I think it transferred quite well. And the topics are all important for all of us. We're all operating MSPs, so there's perennial subjects we need to work around.
How many of those topics do you reckon we're going to see coming back around on the weekly calls?
I think we might talk about all of them again, but in a bit more depth and a bit more comfort, because I think, as I said, speaking in person, it's a vulnerability thing. You don't want to say something stupid, or a lot of people, I don't mind so much.
Yeah, we noticed.
It's so hit and miss anyway. And it comes out 50% of the time. But for people who don't like public speaking, it is tricky. So I think that's why the community calls quite embrace. If you see people get their courage up over a couple of weeks, and then they'll
it's a safe space, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah, it is. That's a great sort of phrase for it. Really, it's a safe space where you can open up a bit, and although we do record for minute taking, really, the session, we're quite happy to switch that off if somebody's got something a little bit more private that they want to bring up amongst in a safe space in a safe room with people that are probably going to be almost certainly have experienced the same thing but may not have talked about it in the past. So
what I find surprising is I had a few people approach me at this event saying, I really enjoy the community call, and they're people who don't necessarily pipe up much on it, but that's okay because it's there for all of us, and some of us are more loquacious than others in terms of talking, myself included, but some people just like to get the key takeaways, and that's what it's there for.
I think if you think about forums and the internet, it's the same thing. Lots of people will lurk and consume content and maybe never post, but they're absorbing and they're taking that in, and then sometimes you get the people that are the quiet listener. They sit, they ruminate, and then the thing they come out with is a piece of gold. So it's like, I think it's and that's the nice thing. It really is nice to hear all those voices. It's really great when we have 15, 20 people on the call. It's still great when we have 5 or 6. I think that's the beauty of it is it's there every week for people to come and drop in and
it's the one key takeaway, isn't it? Yeah. That's what you want.
Yeah, I think, as you say, I think there's value in it, and it's unusual to walk away without anything, much like most NG events really. You normally get a little snippet or a nugget or something, or a bit of help or a bit of assistance.
I get FOMO when I can't make it. I'm like, oh man, you see the minutes come through because it's not notes, and you're like, oh, I wish I'd made that one. I really feel like I missed out now. So.
Yeah, that's actually true. If I do have to miss it, which I do occasionally, then I feel the same. But if you go back to where it started, from the COVID days, where it was, I mean, we used to have quite a lot of people on there. We had events on there, for goodness sake, so it was massive. And then, of course, it
was all we had, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was all we had.
And I can pretty sure I can remember just me and Dave Tulip being on one call one Thursday, because I was quite regular with it, because I felt it was really helpful to keep that community, that continuity of contact with the peer group. So.
I also find running a business is very cyclical. You can have times when it's really good, and then you've got energy to give, and you can talk about topics, and you say, oh no, we nailed that this year, that's great, I can definitely help you with that. And then there's times where it's going badly, and like it's quite difficult to tell that, certainly to the team members, because you're running the ship and you're supposed to be the leader, and so you can't show that. It's tricky to tell your loved ones because they don't understand what it's like to run a business in most cases. So it's just really nice to have that space when you are feeling a bit up against it, maybe a bit bruised, to talk to other people who are at different points but who have experienced that, and just share that. And I think that's what it comes down to. The topics are great, all the key takeaways are great, but it just gives you a chance to talk when you're at a high, at a low, in the middle, and engage with people who understand what you're talking about.
It's quite a lift, isn't it? If you are feeling a bit down, it's like, actually, let's get back amongst the group, go meet those people again, see them again, have a little chat. It's like, and like you say, lift your spirits. So.
Definitely, and you can certainly just sit there silent and listen and I suppose it's like a live podcast in many respects, and you can sort of think, I hadn't thought that would be a problem for me, but then you go back and look, and maybe you reflect after the event and think, actually, there is more to it than I actually realised.
So you may not even trigger it at the time, but 2 weeks later you've come up with a plan and you're like, oh, we actually discussed something about that and it's just sort of germinates, and you go away and you think about it, and it's good.
I also think what's quite useful, that when you think about the variety of people that come into that room, we've got all sorts of sizes of MSP, all people in different stages of the journey.
Different locations.
Different locations, so yeah, absolutely you can pick up kind of like, well, best practice, but also like, oh, like you said, you can help with something, but you go, oh, I'll bank that. That's a really good idea. Absolutely. It's not right now, but I'll stick it up there and keep it for later.
So the one takeaway I got from this event was the Friday. So 1 week of the month, get people to work half an hour lunches and take half an hour lunches, and then let them go at 2 o'clock. I mean, it just gives them a bit more flexibility within their time. You're not giving anything away. People have got holidays, people have got rights. That's how contracts work. But it just shows a little bit more flexibility within the business. So I think we'll institute that. That was from Wayne. That was a really good point.
I completely missed that. We do something similar actually within what we do, where we get people to kind of accrue a tiny bit of time each day, and then they get a half day every 2 weeks that they take off on either a Friday.
It's all about flexibility, isn't it? You want to keep engagement.
And we did say to them, like, should we move this away, because we're very busy, and we're very busy at the moment. Do we just move this away? And they're like, no, we love that perk. We want to carry on doing that. So
yeah, and sometimes just keep throwing, dare I say it, money at it while it's important, because it is tough out there at the moment for everybody. Personally, at home, if you like, sometimes you just need that differentiator in that, where it's about your time back, which is still as equally as important. And I still think if you're doing it and others aren't, then there's a good chance that they'll stick with you and they're not really looking elsewhere.
Yeah,
so
it just sets you apart, doesn't it? And it sets your culture.
And staff welfare is I think is only going to become more and more important in a business anyway. So yeah.
So if you had to, just finishing up, if you had to pick one key takeaway from this 2 days that we've had, what would your takeaway be? Not putting you on the spot, Craig, but giving Dean time.
Not putting me on the spot, but putting me on the spot. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Marcus. Do you know what? I made a note in one of the, I can't remember who said it, so apologies, but there was talk about evaluating your tool stack and actually sitting down and just. I saw one of my leadership team straight afterwards and said, look, we need to get in a room, we need to sit down, we'll get all the engineers' tools listed, we'll just chat through everything we've got, and then we can start to look at what are we doing with it, when does it renew? Because I don't even know when half these tools renew. When's it going to renew? Has it got an API? Is it part of our strategy? Are we fully utilising it? I think a full tool review, which I keep thinking about doing and just never do. And I was like, you know,
That was a 6 vendor panel, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, actually, I wasn't going to say exactly that, but we do know that because we had to list them for one of our ISO sort of standards and what have you. But I don't know what we use it for.
Yeah,
so I don't know if we're getting any value out
so
of it.
I've got this tool, I don't know what I'm paying for.
I know what I'm paying
it.
I know what I'm paying for it. I know how many users I've got. I know where it comes from, but I don't know whether we get any value whatsoever because I don't know if anybody's using it. But for me, I think it was the first day. I think I got an awful lot out of that first day, the M&A stuff.
Yeah, that was great.
And another alternative to just acquisition, buying and selling. Seeing the
so it was a very well-rounded panel, wasn't it?
I actually think they were really high draw speakers, each of them.
Yeah.
So when we looked at the agenda and it was like 4 hours of M&A. You're like, oh, okay, that could be tough.
Brutal.
But each one brought something different. They're all great speakers, engaging, and I just felt like it really flowed well. I think they're probably some of the best speakers we've had at Network Group.
Yeah. I haven't heard anybody else say anything other than that. That was really thought-provoking, really interesting, and there's value in it for where they are, whether you're in the buying cycle, the selling cycle, or hang on a minute, there could be another alternative here. And again, with Mark's succession, that was quite interesting too. One or two guys have got Rob. I know Rob Boyens has got families in his business now, so it's not uncommon, certainly in our industry.
It's a nice mix, isn't it? A real nice set of options and like routes you could take.
Not everybody's just there to just grow it, flog it. That's not everybody's ultimate plan. It feels like that's what we are driven down sometimes as being the only alternative. But actually, it's great to see the other alternatives.
I think when you've got pressure on numbers and you're being very focused on targets as a peer group, then that can drive you towards that kind of looking at that as the main outcome. But actually, like you say, it can be often about lifestyle outcomes.
I guess there was a limited amount about merger, but I think if you look at the probably the breakout of how business has changed, merger is very small.
I think it is small. I think because there were sort of 7 or 8 different types of acquisition.
Yeah.
There might be more types of merger. Shows how there wasn't a session on it. But I don't feel like most companies go through that process. They go more through an acquiring, even if it's a similar sized companies.
It's fraught with danger because if there's a misbalance, you're never going to agree. So maybe that's the reason. But I got lots out of that. And then you get 1 or 2 snippets out of hours, shall we say, after dark as well.
A few drinks.
Yeah. Nuggets at the bar, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah. You won't get those necessarily on our Teams calls, but you do get.
You can refer to them later. Sanitised. All right, great. Well, thanks,
what about yours, Marcus? Because you didn't answer.
Mikey, it was the Fridays. But also, I guess, the point you've already mentioned, which is just how many MSPs have got at least one international worker. It shows how the market is moving. It shows you that, like initially pre-COVID, I think that would have been a fraction of the room. And because of the opening up of Uptime with South Africa and people having Indian SOC centres, and it's just exploded that. And actually that's something to explore, right? Because if that's now the status quo, we never had a session on how you hire that, how you ensure quality, what that all looks like. So it's great, these events, because it gives you a chance to work out where the gestalt of the MSP world is going, based around how people are doing stuff in the room, and then put training around it to make sure we're all doing it right.
Well, I think it's going to be a prescient topic on the basis of, I think you raised the point about, which not many other people picked up on, but the whole point about all the employment laws changing and all that stuff, that's going to drive, again, more people towards, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which way you look at it, more people driving that work offshore because it's easier. It's easier to manage those people. It's easier to bring them on and off.
It's tricky with the rise of the minimum wage too, because at a certain point, you've got business pressures yourself. You've got clients who are cost conscious, macroeconomic issues, problems with tax, and
people are expensive.
It does provide an outlet.
Yeah. I mean, if you had any other service that you could outsource in that way, you would have to seriously consider it. Yeah, exactly. So as it becomes a financial challenge to stay competitive and providing you keep the quality and the control, then
that's the key
you're going to look at it, aren't you?
Great. All right. Well, thanks a lot for your time, gents. And I really enjoyed our community call, and we'll have another one next week.
Fantastic. Look forward to it.
And we have got somebody that we're missing.
There is a 4th member. He is behind us in not the coat hanger.
He's not.
I was going to say, look very similar.
Yeah. He looks excited, so that's nice. We couldn't get hold of him for the podcast, so I assume he's in the pub.
And if we ever needed a hook, if you want to come and see Jez and his antlers, you'll have to come to the call to see that. You'll have to come to the call to see that.
Great. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Bring